Fishful Thinker Television, brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. Coldwell Banker, every day until it's sold.
St. Croix Rod, the best rods on earth.
Evinrude, spend more time on the water.
Good morning, welcome to Fishful Thinker. I'm Chad LaChance, I'm your host, and I appreciate you joining us this morning. Today's show is really unique show for us, and it's really the first of a three-part series of shows, and it's called The Evolution of a Bass Angler. You know, we all see the bass guys on TV and they're rocking around the lake in their big boats and their fancy tackle, but where do they get their start? Maybe you're interested in bass fishing, maybe you just want to get started doing it. This is how you do it. So today's show is Evolution 1, the first step in becoming a bass angler, and the whole premise is this. We're going to stay on the bank, we're going to walk around some basic metro little bass ponds, we're going to use a single spinning rod and some very basic tackle. Everything I'm going to fish with today, including my water bottles and everything else, is in this little backpack. It should be a lot of fun. Next week's show, we're going to step up just a touch. We'll be in a small boat, we'll be on a little bit bigger lake in a 12-foot boat with a couple of rods and a little bit more tackle. And then part 3, 2 weeks from now, will be the big boat, the 21-foot boat, all the electronics, all the tackle, all the gadgetry, and all the stuff you've probably most familiar with bass fishing as seen on TV. So it's going to be a great show. We're going to learn all the fundamentals today about fishing for bass. Hang in there, get comfortable, and we appreciate you watching Fishful Thinker. So as a bass angler, as you're evolving, first you want to look at structure, and then you want to look at the cover. So the structure is basically the contour of the lake. The cover is the stumps, the rocks, the weeds, the grass, the culvert pipes, the docks, anything like that that stick out off the bank or up off the bottom. That's your cover, and that's really what bass do. They're ambush feeders. They like to pick a comfortable spot and sit there. They're basically lazy fish, and they'll like to pick a spot they're comfortable and sit there. The one advantage that the braided line gives you a lot is the no stretch. Getting a hook set from way out there with a medium power spinning rod like that is tough with monofilament, no question about it, it's tough. But with the braided line, it's not nearly as big a deal because there's no stretch to it. So if I yank a foot of line out of this end, it's going to yank a foot at that end, whereas monofilament from this distance, if I jerk a foot at this end, that end may not even move. Even good monofilament, the best monofilament out there, is going to stretch somewhere around 10% minimum. So if I got a 60-foot cast, there's a lot of stretch in that mono. This stuff is not going to stretch. We got stumps like this right on the bank. We got the willow bushes, the stumps, then a deeper edge right here. Great opportunity for the bass angler to come here and catch some fish. I don't want to stand here and throw straight out in the middle. I want to stand here and throw around where those stumps are. I've got my worm Texas rigged like we talked about, so I can throw it right up close. I'm going to throw it right down the outside edge of the stumps, and then we're going to work it along. We're hoping the fish will come out of the stumps and get our bait, because if they don't, then they're going to wrap us in those stumps when I set the hook, and we don't want that to happen. So I'm trying to get the fish to come just a little out of those stumps to get it. We've got the ditch, we've got the weed cover, we've got the big tree on the other side out there. That tree, all those trees right there, excellent hardwood cover with the combination of the hardwood and the grass should be an excellent spot. Braided line, got the Texas rigged heavyweight sink worm, no weight on it, weight's built into it, so it's very weedless. If I make an accurate throw and get it out underneath these trees, I'm just going to let the bait sit there. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to let the bait sink, and then we'll see what happens. So throw it out there underneath the trees, close the bail, and just watch the line. All I'm going to do is watch the line. Don't do anything but watch the line. Notice I'm not working the bait. I'm dead sticking it. The bait's just sitting there on the bottom. Come out of there. Come out of there. All right, now that was a total dead stick with that sink worm. And you can see that fish swimming off with my bait, and that's why a good bass angler, I'm gonna try to get down here where I can get to the bank, because when you're walking the bank, that's why a good bass angler watches his line right there. I'm telling you, now I want to end up peeling this one like a salad. Now this is a medium power rod, and I got that sink worm, and this is right here, folks. This is why you use braided line. You do this with your 10-pound monofilament and you're dead. You're not gonna land this fish, and I hope he's still under there. I got all these weeds. He does look to be a fish coming in. That's a good sign. Come on, fish. Oh, buddy, well, he's not real happy. I'm not real happy. And we'll see if we can get him out of these weeds, get him up here. Okay, I know there's a fish in there somewhere. And got him. Now, that ain't exactly beautiful, but that, oh, ho, 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 ho. That's not exactly a beautiful mess. I'll tell you what, that's an absolute mess right there. But the water's real warm. Fish have a lot of activity, a lot of energy right now. And he's got that Texas rigged bait, totally weedless, which you can see is necessary because we got lots of weeds. And I'll put this rod down here. But that's a good start for the morning, and that's a real nice fish for a little public pond like this. He's not an absolute monster, but a nice one. Let's get him back, because that was quite a battle. We'll put him back in here real graceful, and he'll take off underneath those weeds when he gets his act together. We'll just let him sit there for a minute and do what bass do. There he goes, sliding right under the weeds. You can see him slide right out of here. Kind of a mess getting him out of there, as you can see. Bottom line, I watched my line. Line took off, I let him turn with the bait, stick him, got her done. First step in the evolution of a bass angler, learn to watch your line. Whew. So you're gonna take up bass fishing, you gotta have some basic tackle. And in the beginning, I'm telling you, you gotta keep it simple. We don't need to have a lot of tackle to go out and catch bass, and that's one of the beauties of it. We're gonna learn our skills by walking around ponds, and we're gonna do all of it with this one spinning rod. The spinning rod is a 6'8", it's medium power, it's extra fast action. It just bends at the very, very tip of the rod. It's got plenty of backbone for setting the hook. We've got a medium-sized Sauron reel on here, a number 20 Sauron reel. I've got it loaded with 15-pound Fireline tracer braid. It's a great all-around choice. If it's the rod you buy to learn your bass fishing skills with, it will go with you the rest of your bass fishing career. As far as baits go, everything I generally throw for pond fishing and for basically developing my skills will fit in a little box like this. Not a lot of tackle in there. We've just got a few basic things, and it's going to really start off with a Texas rig. A Texas rig is just a plain wide gap hook like this, and then we'll take that and we'll rig it on a bait where the bait is completely weedless, something along the lines of this. A Texas rig bait is the most basic bait in all of bass fishing. You just put it through here, skinned. Now it hangs nice and straight. It's absolutely not going to snag anything. I can throw it anywhere, as you've seen, without getting a lot of snags with it. The Texas rig is fundamental. Could have a sliding sinker ahead of it. A little bullet sinker like this could be sliding ahead of your Texas rig if you need weight. As with any kind of fishing, the least amount of weight you need to control your cast and your accuracy is what you want to fish with. That's how you get more bites. One of my favorite baits, if it's real calm out, is a little floating minnow bait like this. This is a floating rapala. It could be a fire stick minnow, could be a variety of different baits. Real shiny, real chromy, it'll pick up some sun. When the lake's real slick, working this like a twitch bait, just on the surface and just barely twitching it where it dives a little bit and then pops back up. Great way to get ferocious strikes. Another really important piece of gear, gotta have the shades. Very important, not only for eye protection, projectiles coming back at you, glare coming off the water, but most importantly, these are polarized glasses. They will allow me to see in the water. We talk all the time about having cover. You need to be able to see those stumps and those weed lines and those breaks and drop-offs and everything else. Polarized glasses like these not only look cool, but they'll let you see what you're getting to fish around. So, basic box, single rod, all fits in a backpack. Generally carry a pair of pliers with me at all times as well. Carry a little pair of pliers like that, keep them with me at all times. With this equipment and this rod, I can catch fish just about anywhere in the country that I get the opportunity to go. As you learn to be a better bass angler, you're gonna find out that little spots of hardwood cover adjacent to like cattails like that or moss are always good combination spots, always worth a throw. They may not bite it on the first try. You may have to throw a couple different casts in there, but that's always a good spot to check. Well, fish, and got him. All right, so there again. Oh, and he came off too. Oh, no. Just got bit. He got it, he got it, he got it. Got him. All right, now just swam that one down the bank down here, swimming that lizard, and he bit it, and then he came back for it. I didn't get in a hurry to hook set because I didn't feel any pressure. Now we got that weeds again. We're gonna go down here and get this one. These weeds seem to be okay, this one's a little smaller, so we can swing him on up in here. Now this fish, kind of funny, we got the salad going again. This fish, he swung around and got him there. Now you see you got that salad. Now he's not a monster, but he taught us another fundamental thing. I threw parallel straight down the bank, got that same, I mean, it doesn't get any more basic than that. It's just a hook and line. So got a little power lizard, got a fat little bass on it. He came and swirled at the bait once. He missed it. I killed the action, just let the bait sit there. It sank right down, back down into his cover, and boom, he grabbed it a second time. Again, I did not feel him the second time. The line just started swimming. Near as I can tell, my plastic worm does not swim on its own. So if it takes off one direction, safe bet somebody with fins got a hold of it. We'll get this one back out here. He'll be no worse for the wear. If you come from a trout fishing background or any other really fishing other than bass fishing, you look at a spot like this and it's the last place you want to throw your lure, right? You just spent $5 on your lure or whatever, you don't want to throw it in there and lose it. Problem is the biggest fish in the lake live in stuff like that. And so you really kind of, as you take up bass fish, you have to learn that their lures need to be recklessly expendable. This is very, very simple. This is that same hook and straight braided line. I've got the lizard on there, Texas rigged with no weight. Even if I do snag it and break it off, it's not a huge deal. But realistically, this is why we've chosen this as our primary rod. The one rod that we're gonna learn all our bass fishing with is medium power, extra fast. If you can see, this tip of this rod doesn't hardly bend at all. Just the tip of the rod bends when I pull on it. It's not bending down here. All the power that I have down here is going to be used for hook setting and for pulling fish out of there if we get lucky enough to get a bite. This rod's 6 foot 9 inches long, it's medium power, and it's extra fast action. So lots and lots of tip on it. With the straight braided line, it allows me to throw down into these pieces of cover and see if we can get bit. Now, as you're developing your skills, you're gonna learn what's a bite from a bass and maybe bluegills and crappies. When you're fishing these worms or the lizards or the tube baits or some of the other baits we've talked about, you're gonna find out that crappies and bluegills will eat them no sweat. And if you set the hook every time a crappie bites your bait, you're gonna go through a lot of soft plastics. And we don't even wanna talk about something like GULP, because then they're gonna grab it and swim off with a, you know, like a pigeon at McDonald's with a French fry. They ain't gonna let it go. They're gonna try to get away from their buddies with it, take off with it. So I try to lift real gentle. If I feel like I got a bite, I'll just lift real gentle on it and see if there's somebody on there. If I feel some resistance, good shot to go ahead and set the hook. If it's just a little bluegill, you'll be able to feel the difference. That's why we got a fast action, very sensitive rod. This St. Croix will definitely let me know. A combination of the sensitive rod and the braid will let me know the size of the fish that's pulling on the end of my bait. If it's a 4-ounce bluegill, it's not gonna feel the same as even a small little bass. All right, another really glamorous place to fish, let me tell you. You know, again, we're talking about evolving as a bass angler, we're talking about learning basic skills, we're not talking about exotic destinations and giant fish. Another little pond here in Fort Collins. It's glass calm, high bright sun, got a floating minnow bait. I'm gonna twitch it over these weed beds because we have all these weed beds right here that are real shallow and the water's real clear. I'm gonna twitch over the top of them with this little bait, and we're gonna hope that, that some of these bass will come up out of here. Again, we're right in town. It's nothing exotic, but we'll see what happens. We're taking advantage of some opportunity fishing and advancing our skills so that when we get to take a whole weekend and go somewhere fun, we know what we're gonna do when we get there. See how this works. Get the bait out. And then I'm gonna flash it. If you may be able to see it, it's real chromy. So I'm gonna dart it around and just kind of be real crisp with it. I'm not gonna really let it sit for any long period of time. With the water this clear, I don't really feel like that I'll need to get bites. In fact, that's probably be a detriment to me getting bites. And those fish should be buried up in the weed beds. We're hoping to call them up and out of those weeds with our lures. There's one right there. Oh, it's a giant. But it's going to illustrate a point here. Let me get him off here. Now, big baits for big bites, is that right? What I want to tell you is that one thing people start to learn as bass anglers in the beginning is that they want to throw smaller than average baits. That is a ridiculously little small largemouth, and we're going to put him back. And he hit that bait. That bait's at least as big as that fish. So keep in mind that small baits generally just lead to lots of small bites. Got that one. All right, just twitching that little minnow in the clear water. Sped it up just a little bit. That tells me I bet I can catch some other ones with it now. This fish taught me something. Now, again, he's not a giant fish, but he taught me something. And what did he teach me? He taught me that as soon as I sped up the retrieve, I got bit, and I've been getting slower and slower and slower. So what that means to me is the fish aren't particularly feeding very well. Now, that's no monster. He's a wee little tyke, but he played. Not that one. Just nurse that along. He's out, got down in the bushes there. Come on out of there, fish. Seems to be the common theme today, and hopefully it's going to teach you guys something. Most of the fish we've caught today, we've had to peel out of the weeds. So that should tell you that bass and weeds, can't even see the fish in there. It should show you that bass and weeds go together, and therefore using presentations that allow you to fish around those weeds is really going to be a key way to catch fish. And again, it's just a wee little bass, but every fish you catch should teach you a little bit about how to catch the next fish. Here he comes. Boom, got that one. How much fun is that? Again, I'm not expecting this fish to be huge, but you can see him come blowing out of those weeds to get that bait. Let's come him over the grass, see if I can keep him over the grass. There we go. Now, again, he's not a monster fish, but you talk about honing your skills in a hurry. You learn about timing hook sets. You learn about patience. You can see that fish coming, no sweat. He's smaller than maybe some of the fish we'd like to catch, but again, he's how we learn to catch others. Gotta throw it. That's a pretty light little bait. He got it, already swimming with it. You see that? He's got it right there. Got him. Now if I can get him out of there, there we go. All right, now see, I gave him plenty of time and he came up. No, he didn't. Here he is right here. He wants under that cover in a big way. Look at that, he's rooting underneath here. All right, nice little fat one. And it's just a little guy, but he's perfect little fish. It took as much skills to get him out of there as it's gonna take to get a big one out of Table Rock Lake, let's say. All right, as you evolve as a bass angler, you learn to spot stuff. We've got the little gulp crayfish here. We've got a real shady bank. It's got cobblestones. We're right in the middle of town. You can see the highway behind us. We're gonna try to throw right up against the bank here, and we'll see if somebody will bite this little crayfish. So we're gonna throw it over there up in those trees. I'm not gonna work the bait a lot. I'm just throwing, there he's on it, already he's on it. See the line moving? You can see the line moving? Got him. Now this is a wee little tyke, but what it illustrates is you can see the line swimming. We've caught bigger ones in here. We know there's bigger ones than this. We got that one. He'll probably never bite a gulp craw again. See you, buddy. Here's one. He's got it. Got him. Come out of there. Come out of there. That's a nice one, too. Now he is over in that same brush. That's a nice fish. It's a pretty fish right here. I'll tell you what, that's why you pattern fish. Once you figure out what they want and you got the equipment to get them, that's part of it, the equipment and the skills. Come here, come here. And you got the equipment and the skills to get them. That's what it comes down to. And now that's a beautiful fish.
Nice colors on them, real nice fish for here in the western United States. And that one we've been changing up back and forth, a couple different baits. Watch this, we'll get this one to jump. Ready, watch this. Ready? No, not gonna do it. Anytime you get cruisers, they're always spooky. And these ones are no exception. All right, pond bassin for you right here. And easy fish. Nice, there you go. Now, whew, hook just fell out. Got him on the GULP CRAW. Beautiful fish, absolutely perfect. Spotted him with the glasses cruising right here. Threw the CRAW ahead of him, popped it one time, turned out there and ate it like he knows what he's doing. That is the final step right there in Evolution 1. When you can spot him, make your pitch, your tackle's right, everything's good, and you stick one. Now, is that a giant? Absolutely not, but this is a tiny little pond, it's a beautiful fish. Let's get him back. There you go, buddy. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So, evolutionary process, step 1. Get your basic tackle, get it set up correctly, get yourself some basic lures. Little GULP CRAW, got it done that time, not much of it left. Stay tuned for next week. Evolution step 2, we get in the little boat, it's gonna be great. Little boat, a little bit more tackle, a little bit more baits. Should be a lot of fun. And of course, 2 weeks from now, evolutionary process step 3. So we appreciate you watching Fishful Thinker, and we'll see you next week. No wonder I didn't get any bites. The lure wasn't in the water. I find bass almost always stay in the lake. Huh. Not what I had in mind.